So the question today that we would like to discuss is, does free will exist? So क्या इच्छा शक्ति होती है? If yes, why so? If no, why so? So I request the audience here to please share their views. What do you think? And how does it operate? Kindly unmute and share your views.
Sir, can you repeat the question once more?
The question is very simple, madam. Does free will exist?
Free matlab?
You have a freedom to do whatever you want or not.
Okay. Yes. Freedom exists.
Freedom exists. So Anand Valliji feels that free will exists. Anybody else? Yes, Venkatesh ji.
Good morning, sir. Free will exists to some extent only. Uh, we, are, we are bound by certain karmas, rules, and regulations, our past karma. So, just like a cow tied to a peg, the cow can go up to a certain extent as per the length of the rope. So, to that extent, the free will exists.
Oh, very beautifully answered, Venkatesh ji. So Venkatesh ji says that it exists, but only to a certain extent. Okay. Yes, Surya ji.
Good morning, sir.
Yes.
Yes, for me, the answer is both yes and no. I'll tell you why. Free will does exist for people who who are not oppressed or who live in a society free of oppression. Because at an individual level, you can choose what job you want to do, whom you want to marry, what you think is right and wrong. But then I agree with what Mr. Venkatesh ji said. There are certain societal norms, laws, rules, regulations within which we have to remain in bound. So as long as we don't exercise our free will to harm others, it does exist on an individual personal level. And why I say free will does not exist, see, how much ever a person has in his or her mind to do something, but because they are bound, like say when it's a warlike situation, when a prisoner of war is taken, it's his free will to always escape and gain freedom and go back on the battlefield and fight for his motherland. But because he has been captured, that free will is still in his mind unless he devises a plan to maybe escape or break away from the shackles. So it's yes and no for me, depending on the situation. Thank you, sir.
So Suryaji has given very practical answer. She says that free will is there, but there should be such situation. Imagine people who live in Syria. For them, their natural free will also they can't manifest. But my question is little deeper. There is a school of philosophy that says that everything is destined. सब कुछ पहले से fix है. हमको जो लगता है जो हमारा free will है वो भी destined है. So in that aspect, I am asking whether free will exists or not. So anybody, any other views?
I feel that most of the life is governed by karma, and karma dictates on the present life in majority of the decisions. So the free will really does not exist.
Very good, Srinathji. This is the aspect that we are also thinking about, and it is good to see the contrast, in the debate. Yes, Purnaji.
Yeah, in my view, in Gita, Krishna, one of the said that I am giving a small independence to you, individual, and they have to think, they have to act according to their independence given to them. So Gita says that. So that means other bigger perspective may be control. Also, each an individual has given some independence to think and work on that.
So you say that there is some extent to which free will is given. Yes. Okay. Yes.
We have limitations. I forgot to. We have freedom, but we have some limitations.
Anand Valli also agrees that free will exists, whereas we had Srinath ji who said it does not exist. Everything is destined. Shobhana ji, yes.
Good morning, sir.
Yes.
I believe free will exists. And why? Because there may be destiny, past karma, everything. But with our hard work, devotion, and choices, we may change it a bit. Not entirely, but little bit of free will exists. With our actions, devotion, and hard work.
Okay, okay. So Shobhana ji says that it is possible to bring about a change. Everything is not completely fixed, and there is an extent to which you can bring a change by your hard work, and therefore free will exists. The question here is, I get a desire to do something, fine, I am sitting here and I have the free will to just say, I want to go, I want to go to Canada or, any other country. I just want to go there. And say, if I have the free will to go, I should be able to go, But among so many countries, why did only Canada come into my mind? Is it so the desire that we get when we say that I manifested my free will? Before that will, you get a desire to do something, no? But that desire, do you synthesize that? आप मेरी बात समझ रहे हैं कि वो फ्री विल जो हमको लगता है, उसके पीछे जो हमारी जो इच्छा होती है, वो इच्छा कहाँ से आती है?
Because you think a lot of things to pros and cons. Why to go to Canada? You have the backup mind. You're planning for why to go to Canada. That brings that.
So you say that that kind of a desire that comes from our own memories, whatever information that we have.
Not no. Some is memory. Some is that you're planning for the future. Okay, why you want to go? Okay, and then you plan for that. And bring the desire.
So that planning component is coming from your, the planning component is, you say that it is my free will.
That is
now.
the independence given to think.
Yeah. Okay. I see in the chat box, Anju ji has written that destiny is determined by what we did in the past. The situation in the past decide the way we think and the way we plan. So here also some component of what experiences I had in my past, it corrupts my independent thinking. And that's why some component of this free independent thinking is also bound. That is what I think she wants to say. Radharani ji, please unmute.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Yes.
Maybe, sir, if you see in this birth, you might have heard about that the Canada maybe is good, or some you may have listen about that with your friends or with your relatives. Maybe one thing that thought may create in your mind, or maybe you have some attachment or some vasanas from the past births. Maybe it may also include the attraction, universal attraction may also bring us to think in that way, to go there or to reach there. So these components may create us to think in that way. What I feel, sir.
So free will exists or not? Radharani ji. Yes,
I mean,
or no?
somewhat it is exist, or somewhat it is not exist, sir.
Both.
Actually, but because if you think in the terms of, we have a memory in our cells, cell memory will be there. So something internally it make us to walk towards that way. What I feel, sir. Will not have everything just like that.
Yes.
There is a cause. Everything happens because some cause. We don't know exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other views? Sophia, Preeti ji.
I believe in a way we are bounded to this body we were born in at this time, with this mind, with this, all of this is bounded by our karmas. So in a way, as we will always be bounded by what we did in our past lives that brought us to be born in this one, in the situations and circumstances, in the mind, in the body that we are.
So everything is bound. So there is no free will, is it?
No, there is free will within the boundaries, within the way, yes.
Within the boundary of past impressions, there is some component of free will.
Yes. Which will allow us to make the decisions that will create then our next karmas, or will bring us towards the liberation of karmas. That will bring us towards the liberation and to get to know the real consciousness.
Fine. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your views, Sophia. Anybody else would like to share any other point, or we can?
Sir, Raghunath here.
Yeah, Raghunathji, yes.
Sir, I feel it's more a value of culture,
Oh,
value of an individual, as to how I apply my own freedom. It may not relate to any other circumstances. Whether how much I can extend myself without affecting, without injuring any other person, so far as my activity of freedom is concerned. That's what I feel as the freedom in the philosophy of freedom for an individual.
So according to Kambam Raghunathji also, free will exists and one should use it wisely. Okay, so let us see, what Bhagavad Gita says. Here at the beginning of Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna tells Arjuna that, if, you refuse to fight this righteous war, abandoning your social duty as a Kshatriya, Swadharmam, Kirtim, and reputation, you will certainly incur a sin. So one thing becomes clear here is that Krishna is, he fears that Arjun may not fight the war and go and become a sannyasi and not do his duty. So it means that Arjuna has a choice. He wants to fight or he wants to give it up. So in that moment, he has a choice, and Krishna is persuading him to choose towards the path of his Swadharma. Otherwise, he says that if he doesn't follow Swadharma, then there will be a sin. It means that all of us have a Swadharma towards which our free will should take us, but we also have the freedom to block that Swadharma from manifesting within ourselves. And if we do that, that is a sin. So there is a definition of sin also in Bhagavad Gita. So according to Bhagavad Gita, what is papam? If your Swadharma, that is your, purpose that comes from your own conscience, from your heart, if you do not do, if you block it, then that is the pap. Then again, you see at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, again, now what does Krishna tell him? I have explained to you everything, we had a big discussion. I told you all the paths of Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, everything I have told you, given you all the secret knowledge. Now ponder over it and yathechasi tata kuru. At the end, like a mature therapist, he puts the ball on Arjuna's court. Now you decide what you want to do. So here again, Krishna is acknowledging the free will of Arjuna. So Arjuna may still, after listening to Bhagavad Gita also, he has the freedom of whether to do it or not to do it, or do it differently. This is what in Shankara Bhashya, Shankaracharya also says, kartum, akartum, annatha kartum shakyaha. The human mind may do it as if it is directly reacting to a situation, or it may not does that, like the matter just reacts to whatever action is done. It may react in a very different way. It has that freedom, or it may not react at all. So I have a ball. If I throw it down, the ball has to jump up. It has no option. But if a situation puts a pressure on my mind, it need not necessarily just react back. Just push it. It may just absorb it and do nothing, or it may divert it in an entirely different direction. So this freedom is there in the Chetana Tattva. It is not there in the Jada Tattva. So Krishna is acknowledging this free will here, but then there comes another aspect to it. Okay, I have the free will. I tell myself, I am going to sit now, doing nothing. I will adopt Dhyana Mudra and sit in silence. I am using my free will to sit. I will easily sit for 10 minutes. With some difficulty, I will sit for 30 minutes. But after 1 hour, what will happen? I can't sit even for a moment. My body will start paining. My mind will start rushing me towards the activity. I will have to get up and walk. Now, what happened to my free will here? Or if I just decide to stop my breath, okay, I will not breathe, my free will. But after a while, where is my free will then? So as people correctly said, that this free will, within the nature, within the natural forces, there is a boundary depending on how much freedom you have got from the nature. If you are a evolved yogi, you may sit for hours together, for days, for years together. But that much freedom do you have? Have your free will, that dimension of your free will, has it expanded enough? So otherwise, what will happen? Karyate yavashah karma sarva prakriti jair gunehe. In the beginning, Arjuna, you are very enthusiastic, you will go into the jungle. But in the jungle, as you sit and meditate, in the whole time, the war will keep rotating in your mind. You will be worrying what my brothers are doing, what kins are doing, who is, and you will come rushing to this war again. But that will be, the time will be gone by then. So your prakriti is of Kshatriya, and you are trying to become a sannyasi. You are trying to go against the Swadharma or the nature, but you have not developed enough sadhana to overcome those forces of nature. And therefore, the extent of free will also is limited. But we tend to just feel that, okay, it is just infinite, but it is not. Natural forces also come up. And this is another domain that Krishna brings to Arjuna. And then, comes this kind of a twist, So he says, therefore, arise and attain honor, yasho labhasva, tasmat uttishta yasho labhasva, jitva shatrun bhungakshva rajyam samridham, maye vaite nihataha purvamevam nimitta matram bhavasavyasachin. When Krishna, in 11th chapter, he is drunk into his Vishwarupa, when he really touches the core, then he says, Arey Baba Arjuna, why are you worrying? All these warriors, you keep worrying whether you will win or you will lose. They have already been killed by me. Therefore, just become my instrument and take the credit. Yasho labhasva. So here, Krishna is telling Arjuna that do not think that if you will not fight, the war will not happen or Kauravas will not die. Even if you don't do it, somebody else will suddenly emerge. Bhishma's son Barbarik will come, Bhima's son will come, or somebody will come and finish them off. So in this creation, in the cosmos, if you block, do not think that the cosmos is going to get blocked. It will anyway manifest what it has to manifest. So better you allow it to manifest through you and take the credit of goodness and enjoy, the prosperity that comes through by becoming an instrument. So here, there is this kind of a twist that comes to the free will, where the Creator himself says that if you follow Swadharma, things are effortless. So therefore, with all these understandings, dear friends, I am also learning and trying to understand all these aspects. What I understood is that there is a free will, but it has a window, it has a window to function. And in that window, you can move in any direction and do whatever you want. Okay, but what is the best use that you can put this free will to? The best possible use of this freedom that has been given to you by the creation is to give it up. So the person has a choice to do it in any way. But Krishna tells, Nimitta matram bhavya savya sachin. To use it, to surrender it to something higher than you during that window period, and that is the best application of the free will. By doing that, what happens? By doing that, you allow your sadharma to express itself. That gives you more expansion, and that enhances the domain, of your freedom. And with that, you develop more and more capacity of, in a way, expressing your free will, which is in a way expressing the divinity in you. So that window keeps expanding and you start becoming more and more divine. Whereas if you use that free will in a adharma way, that window starts getting, closer. It starts shutting down more and more, more and more. And you feel that you are doing great things. You are hurting people, you are killing people, you are taking others' credit, and you think that, okay, I have the free will. I borrow the money, I do not return. So I am great. But what is happening in the background is the domain of your free will is now shrinking. Now you are more and more bound to your mind-body complex. Now, for you, even to sit for a minute will not be possible. You will have to get up and run. And you think that you are the boss, but you are more bound. So in this way, the free will exists, but exists in a window. And the best use of that window is that it just allows the air to pass through. Think over it. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you, sir.